1. Introduction. The dawn of the Elizabethan age. Elizabeth I, born September 7, 1533, to King Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, reigned for 45 years from 1558 to 1603, a period often called the Elizabethan era or Golden Age in English history. 1. 1. Her accession on November 17, 1558, was met with public jubilation as England sought stability after years of religious and political turmoil. This era is celebrated for its cultural flourishing, including the works of William Shakespeare, and significant international expansion, notably the defeat of the Spanish Armada. However, this Golden Age narrative contrasts with the challenges Elizabeth faced, such as inherited religious divisions, economic hardships, and persistent threats to her authority. The perception of a golden age was partly a cultivated image to legitimize her rule and foster national unity. 2. Early life and ascent to the throne. Elizabeth's early life was marked by uncertainty and danger. Declared illegitimate after her mother Anne Boleyn's execution, her place in the succession was precarious. Despite this, she received an exceptional humanist education, becoming fluent in multiple languages and developing a keen intellect under tutors like Roger Ascham and the influence of her stepmother, Catherine Parr. During the reigns of her half-siblings, Edward VI and Mary I, Elizabeth faced significant peril. Edward VI, a staunch Protestant, briefly removed her from the succession. Under the devout Catholic Mary I, Elizabeth's Protestant beliefs put her at risk. She was imprisoned in the Tower of London in 1554 on suspicion of involvement in Wyatt's rebellion, an uprising aimed at deposing Mary. Elizabeth's resilience and refusal to confess during this period demonstrated her early political acumen and capacity for survival. Her accession in November 1558, at age 25, brought widespread relief and hope for stability. She immediately began forming her government, reducing the Privy Council's size and asserting her intention to rule decisively as a female monarch in a male-dominated world. 3. Establishing authority. The Elizabethan settlement and governance. Elizabeth inherited a kingdom deeply divided by religious conflict, exacerbated by Mary I's efforts to restore Catholicism. Elizabeth, a Protestant, aimed to establish religious stability through the Elizabethan Religious Settlement 1559-1563, the Act of Supremacy 1559, re-established the Church of England's independence from the Pope, naming Elizabeth Supreme Governor. The Act of Uniformity 1559 made Protestantism England's official faith, banned Catholic Mass, and mandated the English Book of Common Prayer for all services. Elizabeth's reforms were a middle way, aiming for peace and tolerance famously, stating, "There is only one Christ, Jesus, one faith. All else is a dispute over trifles." This pragmatic approach prioritized stability. Though it drew criticism from both radical Catholics and Puritans, Elizabethan government centered on the monarch, supported by the Privy Council, her chief advisors, and Parliament. Elizabeth skillfully managed Parliament through charm, persuasive speeches, and her power of veto, while restricting discussion on sensitive issues like the succession. She transformed the perceived weakness of being a female, unmarried ruler into a source of strength and devotion, cultivating loyalty through patronage and charisma. 4. Domestic challenges and economic policies. Elizabeth's reign faced significant economic challenges, including inflation, national debt, and widespread poverty, compounded by poor harvests and plague. She stabilized the currency by reissuing coins with higher silver content and implemented careful fiscal management, reducing spending and funding wars through efficient tax collection and loans. Elizabeth also championed the expansion of overseas trade, notably establishing the East India Company in 1600, which brought wealth into England. To address poverty, the landmark Poor Laws of 1597 and 1601 made local parishes responsible for the needy. Funded by local taxes, her court was a hub of political and social life, where Elizabeth cultivated loyalty through patronage. Key advisors included William Cecil, Lord Burleigh, her most trusted statesman who shaped domestic and foreign policy. Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester, a close friend and suitor. Sir Francis Walsingham, her spymaster who built an extensive intelligence network. Sir Christopher Hatton, a prominent courtier and Lord Chancellor. Elizabeth skillfully managed court factions, preventing any single group from gaining excessive power. 5. Foreign policy and international relations. Foreign policy aimed to secure England's safety, advance trade, and maintain a balance of power between France and Spain. She skillfully maneuvered between France and Spain, using the prospect of marriage to various European suitors as a diplomatic tool to gain leverage and avoid commitment. Early policy focused on neutralizing the French threat in Scotland, leading to the Treaty of Edinburgh, 1560. Tensions with Spain escalated due to religious differences, English privateering, and support for Dutch rebels. Elizabeth initially provided covert support to the Protestant Dutch rebels against Spanish rule. After the assassination of William of Orange, 1584, and the fall of Antwerp, 1585, England directly intervened, formalizing its alliance with the Dutch via the Treaty of Nonsuch, 1585, the Anglo-Spanish War, 1585 to 1604, culminated in the attempted invasion by the Spanish Armada in 1588. Philip II dispatched 130 ships to invade England and restore Catholicism. The English Navy, with its maneuverable ships and the use of fire ships, broke the Spanish formation. Many Spanish ships were then lost in severe storms while returning home, interpreted by the English as divine intervention. The defeat of the Armada was a monumental victory, securing England's independence, bolstering Elizabeth's image, and laying groundwork for future British colonization. However, Elizabeth's reign also saw costly and disastrous military efforts to subdue Irish rebellions, particularly the 9 Years' War 1594–16036, plots, succession, and the Virgin Queen Mary, Queen of Scots, Elizabeth's Catholic cousin, posed a constant threat, as many viewed her as the legitimate heir. Imprisoned by Elizabeth for 19 years, Mary became a rallying point for Catholic plots to depose Elizabeth. Major conspiracies included the Northern Rebellion, 1569, the Ridolfi Plot, 1571, the Throckmorton Plot, 1583, and the Babington Plot, 1586. Walsingham's intelligence network was crucial in uncovering these plots, especially the Babington Plot, which implicated Mary through intercepted, coded letters. Following her conviction in the Babington Plot, Elizabeth reluctantly ordered Mary's execution on February 8, 1587. This unprecedented act eliminated a major Catholic threat, though it fueled Philip II's determination to launch the Armada. Elizabeth famously never married, earning the title, the Virgin Queen. This was a complex political strategy. It allowed her to maintain absolute control, use marriage prospects as a diplomatic tool, and avoid the risks of childbirth or a politically divisive union. She famously declared herself married to the Kingdom of England. Her unmarried status was transformed into a powerful public image, propagated through elaborate appearances and symbolic portraiture that presented her as a divinely appointed, pure ruler. Gloriana, Point 7. Cultural flourishing and legacy. The Elizabethan era is celebrated as a golden age for English literature and arts, marking the peak of the English Renaissance. Literature and theater. This period saw a flourishing of poetry and drama. With the rise of professional acting companies and purpose-built playhouses, William Shakespeare is the preeminent figure. alongside influential playwrights like Christopher Marlowe and Ben Jonson. Elizabeth herself was a patron of the arts, and music also thrived, with composers like William Byrd. Exploration. This was an age of significant advancements in navigation and global expansion. Figures like Sir Francis Drake circumnavigated the globe and raided Spanish possessions, while Sir Walter Raleigh led early, though ultimately failed, attempts to establish colonies in the New World, laying groundwork for future colonization. Well, not a period of state-sponsored scientific revolution. It saw important intellectual trends influenced by Renaissance humanism, emphasizing education and reason. 8. Conclusion. The enduring legacy of Elizabeth. Elizabeth I's 45-year reign was a transformative period for England, often celebrated as a golden age. Her early life experiences shaped her into an intelligent, determined, and pragmatic monarch. She skillfully navigated religious divisions with her middle-way settlement, ensuring internal stability. Her innovative approach to female rule, combined with shrewd political management and the cultivation of her virgin queen image, solidified her authority. Economically, she stabilized the currency, promoted trade, and addressed poverty, laying foundations for England's mercantile power. 1. In foreign policy. Her diplomatic skill and the decisive defeat of the Spanish Armada secured England's independence and elevated its global standing. 2. Despite ongoing challenges in Ireland and persistent plots against her, Elizabeth's reign fostered a distinct English national identity and a remarkable cultural renaissance, cementing her legacy as one of England's most significant monarchs. 3.